Welcome everyone to our entry-level build guide. This is a great gaming PC with a high-end feature set that won't break the bank. I am really excited to go over all the components and put this build together for you. Starting out, we have our motherboard. We decided to go with the MSI Pro B660MA with Wi-Fi. Motherboards for the 12th generation of Intel processors are in a weird place, and it took a lot more research than normal to find a proper motherboard that I felt good about using for our builds. I ended up landing on this board because of the higher end power delivery and heat sinks. Many B660 boards struggle to offer enough power to even utilize a 12600K at full use, and even though this is an entry-level build, I wanted to leave room for future upgradability years down the road just in case our consumer was looking to stretch out a couple more years of life from this build. The MSI B660MA can easily power up to a 12700K at a great cost and with built-in Wi-Fi. For those that don't have the ability to use wired connection, it is easily the best choice available. Next up is the processor. The Intel 12100F is a powerhouse low-end CPU. I have run and seen many benchmarks where this little guy beats out one generation old 11700Ks on newer titles. It may not have as many cores for high-end productivity tasks, but for gaming it is easily the best value CPU on the market with no competition. After that, I'm going to install the cooler, and although I could have gone with the Intel stock cooler like many other brands do, I decided to try out this ThermalTake Contac 9 SE. It is a small tower cooler that actually performs very well on our 12100F. With improved airflow and thermal temps over the stock cooler, I felt it was worth the small extra cost to have better longevity for this 12100F. Now let's install the RAM. I went with 2x8GB sticks of DDR4 3200MHz CL16 timings. It is pretty much the standard tried and true specs for RAM, and for the price, this silicon power kit does the job great, even if it's not super flashy. There are 2 extra slots on the motherboard to bump up to 32GB of RAM if needed, but for any game in the market currently, 16GB is still perfect. Taking a look at our power supply, I decided to go with the EVGA branded 500 watt gold rated power supply. Now a power supply might seem like a simple purchase, but this also takes a lot of time and research. To start, for our lower end parts, they are actually very low wattage, so 500 watts on the power supply is plenty. Having a 80 plus gold rating is nice, but it isn't actually an indicator of quality, just an efficiency rating, so don't be fooled. We actually want to look at the PCU Cultist tier list of tested power supplies to see if it is actually a power supply that won't explode on you. For a lower end build, A C-graded power supply will work perfect, which is where the EVGA power supply lands. The higher end your build goes, the higher grade of power supply you will want. Finally, it's time for the graphics card. The RTX 3050, a nice entry-level GPU from Nvidia. This guy will handle most 1080p gaming at high or ultra settings easily. The nice thing about this whole build too is later on down the line, GPU upgrades are really easy and seamless. Time to fit everything into our case and do some cable management. We will fill the whole case with 6 fans for the maximum amount of airflow. For the entry level build, we do use some cool RGB lighting with our fans, but they are not changeable. They cycle through different colors. We do offer changeable RGB fans for an additional cost if you want that functionality. But with all that being said, it's time to do a little time lapse. Now that that's all finished, I am really happy with how this build turned out. But it's not all about looks. Let's take a look at some benchmark performances. Starting out with Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, we pretty steadily hover around the 60 FPS mark with slight dips below and above that mark depending on where you are in the benchmark. Next we have Red Dead Redemption 2, where I used the favorite performance preset and averaged 72 FPS with the minimum FPS going down to 56. Overall, I think the settings could have been bumped up, but I would also recommend the Hardware Unboxed YouTube channel where they show a custom graphics preset for the best performance in this game. Moving on to Cyberpunk 2077, with the highest preset we averaged around 57 FPS, which is pretty acceptable. But if you want the best performance, the medium preset with high texture quality averaged over 70 FPS with no dips below 60. Now for the brand new Spider-Man Remastered port for PC. The RTX 3050 can easily run this game on the very high preset. I wouldn't do any ray tracing, but we stick above 60 FPS no problem throughout our entire set of testing. Lastly, let's end it off with another PS4 port that's a bit older, Horizon Zero Dawn. Once again, we are easily able to run ultimate quality and average 67 FPS. Well, that's it for our quick benchmark suite. I was going to show some benchmarks for esports titles like Valorant, CSGO, and League of Legends, but this build very easily averaged over 240 FPS in those titles. So if you have a 240Hz monitor, this is a great price for an esports rig. Thanks for watching everyone, and I hope this video gave you guys enough information about the build and what it is capable of. I'm really happy with how everything turned out. If you're interested in this build or have any questions, visit our website at omnirayelectronics.com. Once again, thanks for watching, and I hope you all have a good day.